So, when I say the name Einstein, what pops into your head? Probably this image of a genius with crazy hair, right? Almost like a character from a movie. But what if I told you the real story isn't about some perfect, untouchable genius? What if it's actually about being, well, just super curious? Let's dive into the life of Albert Einstein, because his incredible journey was powered by one simple thing: asking big questions.
Seriously, think about it. What does a genius really look like? Is it the person who aces every single test? The one who always colors inside the lines? Well, the man who completely redrew our map of the universe. He didn't fit that mold at all. In fact, his story kind of challenges everything we think we know about where brilliant ideas actually come from.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, because young Albert Einstein, he was anything but a model student. We're going to see how the physicist who changed the world was, back in his day, considered a pretty unlikely genius. Back then, the ideal student was supposed to just memorize facts, repeat them, and follow the rules. No questions asked. But that just wasn't Einstein. He really struggled with all that rote learning. He'd rather be off on his own, thinking about huge questions that weren't in any textbook. You could say the school system just wasn't built for a mind like his. So, if he wasn't exactly a star student, what did he do after school? Well, he couldn't get a teaching job, so he ended up in a place you would never, ever expect. This next part is all about his time as a patent office thinker and how this totally normal job became his secret laboratory.
That's right. It's kind of wild to think about. The theories that reshaped our entire understanding of space, time, and energy, they weren't born in some fancy university lab. Nope. They were dreamed up by a young guy reviewing other people's inventions in a quiet little government office in Bern, Switzerland.
And you know what? This job turned out to be the perfect place for his mind to run wild. Looking over patent applications was just engaging enough to keep him sharp, but it left him with tons of mental energy. He didn't have the whole publisher perish pressure of being a professor, and most importantly, he had time for his famous thought experiments. Like imagining what it would feel like to ride on a beam of light. So, all of that quiet thinking at the patent office was about to pay off in a huge way. What happened next was so unbelievable that scientists now call it his honest mirabilis, his miracle year. It was a single year where he basically launched a revolution in physics, all from his desk.
The year was 1905, and while still working that day job as a patent clerk, a 26-year-old Albert Einstein published four, not one, but four groundbreaking papers. Honestly, any one of them would have made a scientist's entire career. He dropped four, and in doing so, he completely changed the game. Okay, so one of those papers introduced the theory of special relativity. And look, this is a pretty mind-bending concept, but the main idea is that space and time aren't fixed. They're not the same for everyone. They're relative. They can actually stretch and shrink depending on how fast you're moving. This just blew centuries of scientific thought right out of the water. And out of that very same theory came this, probably the most famous equation in the world, E equals mc squared. It looks so simple, but what it means is profound. It's telling us that mass and energy are really just two sides of the same coin. A tiny bit of mass can be converted into a huge amount of energy. It's the idea that laid the groundwork for the entire atomic age. But Einstein wasn't done. Not even close. The miracle year was just getting him warmed up. He was about to build on these incredible ideas to create an even bigger, grander theory, one that would literally rewrite our understanding of the whole universe. So 10 years after his miracle year, in 1915, he publishes his absolute masterpiece, The Theory of General Relativity. In it, he described gravity not as some mysterious force pulling things down, but as a curve in the fabric of space and time itself, caused by massive objects. It was a beautiful, elegant idea, but was it true? Well, in 1919, the proof arrived. An expedition went to observe a solar eclipse, and they saw that the light from distant stars was actually bending around the sun's gravity, precisely as Einstein's theory predicted. The news spread like wildfire, and Albert Einstein, the former patent clerk, became a global superstar almost overnight. So, what is Einstein's true legacy, really? Is it the equations, the fame, or is it something deeper? Let's get to the heart of how he thought and why he believed his imagination was his most powerful tool of all. I mean, Einstein himself said it best. For him, the big breakthroughs didn't come from just knowing what was already known. They came from his incredible ability to imagine new possibilities, to run these wild experiments in his head. His curiosity and his imagination, those were the real engines of his genius.
And don't for a second think this is all just abstract theory. His wild imaginative leaps are a part of your life right now, every single day. The GPS in your phone, it literally has to account for his theories of relativity to work. His work is fundamental to satellites, to nuclear energy, and to our entire modern picture of the cosmos. That's why this stuff matters.
So we end with this. The story of Einstein isn't just about a once-in-a-century genius. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest answers aren't found in a classroom, but in those quiet moments when you just let yourself be curious. And it leaves us with one last thought to chew on. What could you discover if you let your imagination run free?